like this. But then he says, not to benefit yourself materially, but to please the Supreme, Krishna says. He's saying you can please me by being happy in your heart. To please the Supreme, to please, this is the austerity, Krishna says, in the mode of goodness. So Krishna not only advises us to cultivate this mana prasada, this satisfaction of the mind, this serenity, which frees us from all this hankering and lamentation. But he says, you can do it for me. Do it as a service. Do it to please me. Krishna says if we do it, he'll be pleased. So that should be our intention. So that's different from New Age people who simply want to do this for themselves. That's the difference.
The New Age people usually do these things for some outcome, meaning un-Krishna conscious outcome. They have
they want to be cheerful. They want to be happy. They want to enjoy life materially.
Yes.
They don't want to engage in devotional service. So that it may be like the mode of goodness to some degree, but not all of the mode of goodness is done as devotional service. But Krishna says here this is the mode of goodness, but you can do it for me.
The consciousness is different. Yes.
Yeah. And so imagine Krishna is saying we can practice, we can cultivate the ability to be serene within our hearts and cultivate satisfaction in our minds as a form of devotional service to please the Supreme. So why does he want us to do that? Okay, this is what it means. We'll come back to that question. This is what it means to be a Brahmana, as a form of devotional service. In other words, Krishna likes us to cultivate these qualities of the mode of goodness, because that's the way a Brahmin is always peaceful. Samo, that's his first 1842. The qualities by which the first quality is peacefulness in the heart. Not that he's thinking I should act like this, be peaceful, not make fights. He feels peaceful. That's the quality of a Brahmin. He is peaceful. He's not disturbed. So Krishna likes us to cultivate these qualities of the mode of goodness. So why does he want us to do that? Because it's the voluntary cultivation of these qualities that enable us to attain the Brahma Bhuta platform. He actually explains that. It's the cultivation of the mode of goodness. As it deepens, it enables one to attain a liberated platform, a Brahma Bhuta platform, on which one begins to understand that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. The platform of joyfulness of the heart that enables us to be free of hankering, free of lamentation, and to have loving feelings towards Krishna. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param, 1854. Again and again, these qualities of the Brahmana are described by Krishna and encouraged. In 1842, Krishna describes the Brahminical qualities: Samo, Dhamma, Tapa, Shocham, Shantir, Arjavam, Evacha. So Samo is peacefulness. It's always the first one. It's just like serenity. It's just like satisfaction, because the next one, Dhamma is self-control. But why is peacefulness first? Because a person who's peaceful in the heart, he can have self-control. because the things don't disturb him. And the next one is austerity. Why is peacefulness first? Because a person who's satisfied within the heart, he can be a little austere. He can deny himself what everyone else is mad after because he has satisfaction in his heart. What is purity? This peacefulness, it enables one not to be hankering for sense gratification. It's the greatest form of purity. And what is tolerance? Shanti. You hear people chant Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This tolerance that if a person is satisfied within the heart and feeling serenity, they can tolerate all kinds of things. If something doesn't work the way they planned, they're not upset because there's why do we want things to go the way we plan? Because we're thinking that I'll be satisfied if they do. But a person who's already satisfied within himself, if things don't work out, not disturbed. So Krishna wants us to be this way. So all of this Brahminical cultivation, it culminates in the attainment of the Brahmabhuta platform. Brahmabhuta prasanatma, no sochati, no hankering, no lamentation. Mad bhaktim labhate param, then he can become a devotee. So you can feel devotional. In order to represent Srila Prabhupada's teachings at the same time, we have to say it is true. In his purport to 1854, where Krishna describes the Brahmabhuta platform, Srila Prabhupada writes that one who's engaged in pure devotional service automatically attains the Brahmabhuta platform. And this is what this gentleman is saying, that one who engages in pure devotional service, he automatically, however, it's very rarely achieved just like that.
Right.
Very rarely achieved. In our Krishna consciousness teachings, we're advised to approach the cultivation of Krishna consciousness from both directions. Although Srila Prabhupada says that one who's a pure devotee is automatically on the Brahmabhuta platform. At the same time, it's stressing Brahminical quality, Brahminical quality, Brahminical quality. He's saying not only that we should have Brahminical quality, but if we don't, we can't be a devotee. He says this many times, repeatedly, that it's impossible to feel devotional when we're in the mode of passion, when we're in the mode of ignorance. So the idea is that we're advised in Krishna consciousness to approach the cultivation of Krishna consciousness from both sides. On the one hand, we're told that by becoming a pure devotee, all Brahminical qualities will develop in us. And on the other hand, we're told that it's impossible to attain the devotional platform unless we ascend to the Brahminical platform or the mode of goodness. What did you say, Prabhu?
No, Prabhupada says we should strive for the Brahminical qualities, or at least.
Totally. That's why he's making a Brahmin initiation. And he's talking about it, that it's not something now you wear a badge or something, that you have to develop these qualities. He wants it because you can't be a devotee otherwise. It's not possible. You'd be plagued. Without the Brahminical qualities, you'd be plagued. of satisfaction in the heart and peacefulness in the heart will be plagued by the desires for sense gratification and will be plagued by lamentation and discouragement and everything else. Because most of us are still conditioned souls. And the cultivation of Brahminical qualities is very essential. How does one attain the Brahma Bhuta platform, whereby one can have devotional feeling, whereby one can be freed from hankering and lamentation and have devotional feelings? That platform, the platform that enables us to be joyful and endowed with loving feelings of the heart toward Krishna. So Krishna describes this, that there's a process in verses 51 to 53. 18, chapter 18, just before the Brahma Bhuta verse, Krishna describes how you get there. And before we read these verses, let's read Srila Prabhupada's first sentence in the purport. Let me grab my, do you want to bring that up? Your mic,
Oh, yes.
your
Yes. What verse and what chapter?
1851 to 53.
Okay. 1851 to 53. 1 second here. So we're going to pull it up from prabhupadbooks.com, chapter 18, 51 to 53. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. So these verses, they describe the process by which one will attain the Brahma Bhuta platform. But before we read the verse, I'd like to go to the purport.
Sure.
And what is the very first sentence in the purport? He says that when one is purified by knowledge, in other words, when one understands the science of Krishna consciousness, he keeps himself in the mode of goodness. Could you raise it up a little bit, Prabhu? Because, okay, and all right. And then the last few sentences and then are that when one becomes non-attached to material things, and that is the stage of self-realization of Brahman. This might be different from my book a little bit. And when one is, this is called the Brahma Bhuta stage. In other words, the mode of goodness, which is at the top of this purport, leads us to the Brahma Bhuta stage. Now let's look at the verse again. It says that one who does all these things that are described, such a person is elevated to the position of self-realization. In other words, this stage of Brahma Bhuta, where a person starts to understand that I'm not this body, and becomes joyful in the heart and free from lamentation and free from hankering. This is the process. It's the deepening of the mode of, and it's the cultivation of the mode of goodness. Now let's look, and if one does it, and so what are the things? He's pure, he's controlling his mind. So let's look at the verse. There we are. He's controlling the mind with determination. Why are you taking it away? Prabhu, could you raise it up so that we could read the English, the translation? That's it. So he says, controlling the mind with determination. So how does this control happen? If he's satisfied within his heart, the mind is automatically controlled, okay? Giving up the objects of sense gratification. If we have serenity, if we have satisfaction in the heart, the mind is not looking towards objects of sense gratification because the gratification is already there. Next, being freed from attachment and hatred. If a person is satisfied within their heart and they lose something, there's no sense of loss. And if somebody does something or takes something from them, they're not angered because they're satisfied within themselves. They're not one who lives in a secluded place. We're living in a secluded place, and we're not going to the bar, and we're not doing all the nonsense things that other people do because we're satisfied without it. One who eats little and controls the body and tongue. Well, a person who, Srila Prabhupada says, a devotee eats to keep body and soul together. Of course, he says it's not wrong to enjoy, but we should enjoy what is good for the body, not we're maintaining the body. It's Krishna's body, and we're using it in Krishna's service. So we eat what's appropriate, but we have that ability to be sober, to not to overindulge, because we're already satisfied in our heart. It gives us an element of detachment. And he always in trance and is detached. That's where the detachment comes from. We have to be, if we're satisfied, we're detached from the things that everyone is mad after, without a false ego, false strength, false pride. These things, they come from the mode of passion and ignorance. One becomes relieved as much as they're in goodness. But this peacefulness is the first quality of goodness. And lust and anger, yeah. So as we are satisfied within ourselves, we're free from these things with a separate endeavor, not trying to control all this whole list, trying to do it with grim determination. It's not possible. But if a person is satisfied within their heart, then it becomes easy, because all these things are groping for things outside of ourselves. And who does not accept material things does not think within himself that by having all these material things, by arranging all my material circumstances, then I'll be happy. He doesn't think like that. He doesn't think like that because he's joyful within his heart. He's happy, he's self-satisfied, and he's not looking for things outside of himself. Such a person, Krishna says, becomes elevated to the position of self-realization. And so the next verse, bring up the next verse, please, sir. One who's thus transcendently situated, one who's situated like we were just reading, he at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. Krishna is saying that if we practice like that and it gets deeper, we be able to understand our spiritual nature. Such a person doesn't lament anymore or desire to have anything. And he's equally disposed to every living entity. And in that state, he attains pure devotional service to me. So it seems like it is very, very, Krishna is encouraging us. The whole thing that makes this work, the whole thing that makes the person able to follow all those restrictions or austerities, a person has to be satisfied within themselves. And when that deepens, they become joyful within themselves. And then they are able to be devotional, because being devotional and looking for sense gratification are mutually exclusive. You can't, it's one or the other, and you can't do both. So we have to become free. That's called liberation, liberated soul. So let's see now. So qualities are very similar. These are the qualities, of the Brahminical platform that's described in 1842, Samodhamatapa. But what's the key that enables one to maintain this standard of discipline? It's just like my wheelbarrow. When I'm bringing firewood to the house, there was so much terrible squeaking of the wheel. But with a little squirt of WD-40, all the squeaking stopped and the wheelbarrow went very smoothly. So what's the WD-40 that enables one to behave as described in those verses 50? The answer is it's the quality of satisfaction of the mind, the inner serenity, manaprasada, and samo, inner peace of the heart. So with this understanding, I'll jump around a little bit. Let me look at this. Let's the purport understand how the Brahminical cultivation of inner peace and inner satisfaction can be our best friend on the path of devotional service. So when Krishna advocates the cultivation of inner peace of the heart, the peace of the Brahman, do we accuse Krishna of putting forward some New Age teaching? When Krishna advocates the cultivation of satisfaction of the mind and the quality of serenity, do we say, wait, these are New Age ideas?
No.
I admit that the overriding teaching of our Krishna conscious philosophy, as presented in Bhagavad Gita, etc., is engagement in pure devotional service. Yeah, I admit that. At the same time, Srila Rupa Goswami advises us to accept whatever is helpful.
Yes.
Therefore, I say that when I engage in the cultivation of inner serenity of the heart, which in turn enables me to live in the present moment, anyone can make this experiment, free from the affliction of hankering and lamentation, I find that my engagement in Krishna consciousness is wonderfully enhanced. And for this reason, I'm moved to share this with my God brothers and God sisters, because I see them struggling. They're not able to engage in pure devotional service free of hankering and lamentation. So if something is helpful and the Krishna is advising it, we shouldn't reject it and say this is New Age philosophy. It's not New Age philosophy.
Well, the thing is it's New Age philosophy if the person practicing is trying to be God or is envious of Krishna. But if someone's it's these qualities are not the goal, they're the byproduct.
Every spiritual practice the very first step is liberation. So like you say, Prabhu, whether one wants to be God or one wants to serve God, they all have to come to this platform first. And so, but if we well, how do I use the word? If we utilize these processes and to thinking that I'll become God, then of course it's not what we want, and it's on the platform of. But Krishna says, he makes that point in 1717, that if you don't do it for yourself or for some other material purpose, but you do it for me, this is, you can do it for, you can do these practices, these cultivations for me. And so I'm trying to be logical, and it's not such a great way to speak. It's better to speak from my heart in the present moment. But it's a kind of it's subtle, and it's hard to explain. A little hard, difficult to explain. But anyone can do this. Anyone who's interested can try to sit and be, and just feel Srila Prabhupada says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. He didn't say chant Hare Krishna and you'll become happy. He said, be happy, be happy. And Krishna says that it's an austerity. It's the austerity of the mind to be happy, to be satisfied, to be serene within the heart. And it can be so helpful. It's like taking a vacation. It's taking a vacation from living with our own mind, which is like a runaway horse. And anyone can do this. And it's on this platform to begin to engage in sadhana bhakti, on this platform. It's on this platform that when Krishna explains that when the heart is pacified, when the hankering and lamentation, the disturbance of the mind is no longer there, one can begin to be loving. And this anyone can experience, but it's impossible to be loving as long as we're caught up in hankering and lamenting. And that's the efficacy. That's why these practices, or this cultivation, and this is why the whole Brahminical platform is encouraged for us to become Brahman. To become Brahman means to associate, to be on the Brahman platform. That's what a Brahmana is. He's understanding that I'm not this mind. That's what it means to understand that I'm not this mind. That I don't have to serve these hankerings. I don't have to serve these lamentations. And as soon as one becomes, but simply by becoming peaceful within the heart, these things go away. Then Krishna says, as soon as they're nasochati nakangshit mad bhaktim lavate param, you can feel love. Mad bhakti means you can love me. So this is so important to be able to do this cultivation. It's the key to open. So at our stage, we want to develop love for our spiritual master, for Srila Prabhupada. But many devotees have given me feedback that they don't know how to feel like this. But if we come to this platform of inner serenity, as Krishna says, Mad Bhaktin Lava, at that point, it's as soon as we become then we can feel devotional towards Srila Prabhupada. And the only way to know that this really works is to experiment and see how beautiful and how wonderful it is. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, I don't want blind following. Blind following means I like the philosophy, but I've never tested it yet. Blind following means, like Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness is only a matter of understanding and accepting. And if we ask, I keep saying this over, though everybody in the room who accepts the philosophy, raise your hand. And everyone will raise their hand, and I say, no, you haven't accepted the philosophy. You like the idea. Srila Prabhupada says, mental platform. You're on the mental platform. You like the idea. But if you really accept that Krishna loves me, he loves all of us, and he's openly inviting us to come and be in the spiritual world with him simply by engaging in devotional service, we'll become joyful if we really accept.
Right.
That joyfulness of the heart is required. Prasanatma. Krishna says, when you become joyful, you'll be able to feel devotion.
Joy.
Mad bhakti labhate param. Prasanatma leads to joy, joyful. Mad bhakti, prasanatma leads to mad bhakti labhate param. In translation, being joyful in the heart enables one to have devotional feeling. Therefore, and so feeling joyful in the heart and feeling satisfaction of the mind and feeling serenity in the heart, they're all the same. There's no difference. A person who's serene can be joyful, and a person who's joyful can be serene, and a person who's joyful can be peaceful, and a person who's peaceful can be joyful. They're all the same, and Krishna is encouraging this. Krishna is saying, you have to do this. Krishna is saying, if you want to be my devotee, you have to come to this platform, and by cultivating it every day, it'll deepen. And you'll come to the Brahma Bhuta platform. So now,
Joy.
how to explain these things? But anyone can do it. It's the simplest thing, and it's the hardest thing. So we tried to give an exercise. How you get there is not important. That we say, remember the happiest moment of your life, and then forget what caused it and just feel that way. That's your spiritual nature. Remember the happiest moment of your life, and when you feel it and live it again, like it's happening right now, and you feel that happiness, and you feel that, or the most loving person you ever met, and you feel that exchange of love in your heart, and then throw away the memory and just feel that. That's your spiritual nature. It's not an artificial imposition on the mind. It's what we are. It's Krishna. And he says, anyone can do that. And notice that as soon as you feel that way, all your hankering and lamentation evaporate. And if we approach Srila Prabhupada with that feeling in our heart, as much as we approach Srila Prabhupada with that feeling in our heart, we'll be able to sense his love for us. As much as we approach Srila Prabhupada with that feeling in our heart, we'll be able to feel his sense of reciprocation. He'll share his Krishna consciousness with us. We'll begin to understand how he feels. And this is the process of, this is what means from him ecstatic prem emanates, and in this way our ignorance is destroyed. This is the whole business, the whole key. Therefore, he said, don't be blind. Make the experiment. He said, don't lick the outside of the bottle of honey. Get into the bottle. This is the bottle. This is, anyone can do this. It's not a question of advancement in Krishna consciousness. It's beginning of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada explains that anyone who chants Hare Krishna without these devotional feelings, they automatically have an alleviation of their material anxiety. Anyone who engages in sadhana bhakti without feeling actual devotion, without feeling love, automatically has an alleviation of material symptoms, material anxieties. But as soon as they stop, then it all comes back like a tidal wave. So he said, and he also says that by doing this, one will become purified. So what is that purification? Is that if we study the books like we were considering Bhagavad Gita together, and if we understand this process, or like Srila Prabhupada says, and one who is accumulating some knowledge, they'll keep themselves in this mode of goodness, like is being described. The goodness, what is that goodness? It's the cultivation of satisfaction within ourselves. It's the cultivation of this Brahminical mode. The one that because the books are telling us this is the part of the process. He said, so, but as soon as we cultivate, so by doing sadhana just as a duty, as an obligation, because we are obligated, and we do our duty, but we will get alleviation, but to feel reciprocation of love, it only comes to the degree that we have love in our hearts. Krishna explains the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. As they approach me, I reciprocate. Therefore, love me. That's what Krishna is saying. Then you'll know that my reciprocation is there. But unless we have this, we're on this platform of free from hankering and lamentation, we can't do mad bhakti labhate. We can't engage on. Therefore, we have to be on this platform where we feel our inner peace, our inner serenity. And Krishna says, cultivate it. Then when we have this feeling within ourselves, we just feel beautiful. Because we're spirit soul, to accept ourselves as pure spirit soul. And what does it say in Ishopanishad? Like unto the Lord as am I, shining, eh? That we know that we feel our own beauty. We have to do that. We have to understand, to associate with God, we have to be as pure as God. To be associated with the Supreme Brahman, we have to be on the Brahman platform. Then anyone can do it. It's not a question of advancement. And we're not talking about Krishna Prem. We're not talking about Bhava. We're talking about developing a relationship with our spiritual master, so that we can feel his affection, his love, his enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness, his joy in Krishna consciousness. He shares that with us. when we approach him with a nice heart. And then we want more. That's what happens. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said to me, he pulled up his sleeve and he did a pantomime of somebody shooting heroin in his arm. And he said, have you seen this? And I said, yeah. And he said, Krishna consciousness is like that. We're supposed to become madly addicted. That we want more. We want more. So, but we first have to get a taste, then we know we want more. And that's how the taste. So this is very simple, but how do you these? Yeah, you want to say something, Prabhu?
I said how you explain it. Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, it's simple, but the explanation process to explain the whole thing, it's challenging.
I was just trying to give some scriptural support for what I'm putting forward, that it's not something I'm making up. I'm quoting Krishna.
Yes.
So, but to do it is easy. There, in different traditions, they have practices for how to create this kind of feeling in the heart. In different, I'm not supposed to talk about, people get all excited, you can't talk about this. It doesn't matter how you get there, but we have to get there because it's the key that opens the door. So I said, we think every day sometimes we have moments of joyfulness, all of us. Every day, every day we have moments of feeling elation. Yeah, Haribol. People say Haribol, right? They're feeling good. Something has made them feel good, but they're thinking that it's the something outside that has made us feel good. So we have these moments and we're capable of them, but we have to understand that we have the capacity to feel this way independent of what's happening outside of us. We do. And it's no more, some people say, oh, that's artificial. It's no more artificial to feel happy than it is to feel lamentation. It's a different mode. It's just like changing gears. You say, is first gear artificial and third gear is the real thing, or vice versa? It's just part of our nature. But the mode of goodness, when it expands, it becomes Shuddha Sattva. But the mode of ignorance will never become anything but the mode of ignorance. And the mode of goodness is the closest thing to our spiritual nature. And that's why, and it opens us up to experience the Brahman platform. That's why a Brahmin is called a Brahmana, because he's supposed to be on the Brahman platform. So he's called a Brahmana. So I say, and I'll take the chance and let people throw anything they want at me. Just sit down. Remember the most happy moment you've ever had in your life, and remember the event that made you feel that way, and feel it today like it's happening now. Everything else disappears from your mind. And then when you're feeling that way, forget about what caused it and just feel that way. Do it for 30 seconds. Do it for 5 seconds. Do it for 5 minutes. But the Brahmin lives on that platform. He's always feeling that way. And this opens up for him the Brahma Buddha platform. He lives on that. We should be living in joyfulness. It's not artificial. It's a higher mode, and it's recommended that we come to this mode. cultivate it. Cultivate it. Mana prasada. Cultivate samo. Cultivate prasanatma. Become, be. You have the power to do it. Be joyful. It's strange to us because we live in the mode of passion most of the time and ignorance. But that's what the mode of goodness is. The first quality is peacefulness of the heart. I'm not making anything up. It's right there in our books. And Krishna says, cultivate it. He says, it's your austerity. Do this terrible austerity of feeling happy. Do this terrible austerity of feeling total peace within yourself, of feeling a total serenity, of feeling, oh, I don't need anything. All I need is to feel like this, satisfaction of the mind. He said, do that. Mana prasada is Krishna's words. So why should anybody object and say, oh, we just chant Hare Krishna? Okay, if you can do that, go ahead. But me, I needed a little help, so I took Krishna's advice, and I'm cultivating like this, and it's helping me very much. So that's because because of that, I get excited. I want to say, hey, we can all do this. We don't have to chant Hare Krishna, japa, do sadhana for 50 or 100 years, and waiting for some great enlightenment to strike us. It doesn't work that way. It works that as like Krishna says, when you feel like that, is happy within yourself, then you can be devotional. It'll be the more deeply you sit with yourself and feel joyful within your heart, whatever you think of, you'll feel loving towards. And if you think of Srila Prabhupada, your love will just flow to him. You have to make the experiment. And then you start to chant japa for his pleasure. It says, I have 100 quotes. It says, Harinam Chintamani. When you chant the holy name, meditate on Krishna and your spiritual master. Always engage in Krishna's consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. Always engage in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of a pure devotee. This is personal. Not following a user's manual. No, in his association, under his guidance. You have to begin to feel his association, and that feeling is revealed to us as much as we have love in our heart, and therefore we have to cultivate the Brahminical platform, and then we feel then we feel joyful. Then we feel Mad Bhakti love. Then we feel capable of having loving feelings. As soon as we're happy, so easy to have. As soon as we're joyful, you love the whole world when you're joyful. Nothing bothers you. As soon as you feel love, you're happy. As soon as you're happy, you feel love. It's the Brahminical platform. It's the mode of goodness. So then when Srila Prabhupada comes into the mind, your love flows to him. It's automatic. Your love flows to everything. Your love has no sense of direction. When you feel love in your heart, whatever you think of, it could be a stone outside in your garden. It could be a flower. It could be anything. in the room. It could be an insect on the wall. If there's love in your heart, whatever comes into your consciousness, that love flows to it. So this principle can be used in our devotional life. If we have love in our heart, as soon as we bring Krishna or Srila Prabhupada into our mind, their love flows to him. So we have to make that experiment, and we're all capable of that. And Srila Prabhupada wants us to be on this Brahminical platform. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So we're and this is a neophyte beginning. This is a neophyte beginning. I have this quote that Diksha means he said Srila Prabhupada teaches like that. In the 10th canto purport, he explains that initiation, he says, means the cultivation, the beginning of a heart-to-heart relationship. A heart-to-heart relationship, he says, with who? He says, with someone who has Krishna in their heart. Then Krishna will be in your heart too. And this is what Diksha means. He said this initiation. This is what initiation. He explains that.
Joy.
That you begin this process. And Srila Prabhupada, if you could have a relationship with the Lord in your heart, the super soul, he's waiting for you to turn to him. The Srila Prabhupada is the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. He's just waiting for us to turn to him, to open our heart to him. So, Hare Krishna. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, at least to me.
So, but can I ask?
Yes, that makes sense.
That's Robert?
Yes, that was Robert.
Hi, Robert. Hare Krishna. So,
Hare Krishna.
But so, has anybody here? I've spoken like this a little bit before. It's all I want to talk about because it's so exciting. Can I do it constantly? I forget. I get distracted. I get fruitive. I get concerned about success and failure in what I'm doing. But I come back to this because I have the sense that he's always there waiting for us. Just waiting for us to turn. And when I've had enough of frustration and dismay and saying, when will I have this? And when I've had enough, and I come back, crawling back, and say, like it says in our songbook, please let me be with you. And the other song says, oh, you taste the nectar of the name. When will I hold your feet to my heart till the end of time? When will that day be mine? The acharyas are writing because this is the way we are supposed to be relating to our spiritual master. What's the other prayer? It says, I offer you all respect, for thus I may have the ability to know you correctly, to understand you. What will be the result? Then by chanting the holy name in great ecstasy, all my offenses will cease. Okay, that's very advanced. But he's saying that when we understand our spiritual master, we learn from him what it feels like to be a devotee. There's no other way. That's the process. That's why it's called an apprenticeship program. We're under his what it means under his guidance, in his association, under his direction. Practice Krishna consciousness in the association of a pure devotee. And what does he say in the Bhagavatam 1.5.25? It's infectious.
Right.
You're going to catch it like
Mm.
an infectious disease. He says, what does it mean to be infected? It means you get the taste from him. You get the taste of what it means to be a devotee. And he says that's what it means. That's what infection means, to imbibe the taste. So there you got to drink in the taste. He says in 100 places, he says, yeah, association like a crystal stone, like a mirror. He says it will reflect everything that's before, whatever's before it. So therefore, if you associate with a pure devotee, your heart will be like a mirror, but the mirror has to be clean. Srila Prabhupada writes. So what is that clean? It's what we're talking about.
Mm.
It's having that absence of the dirt of hankering and lamentation. That's the clean heart that enables us to reflect the qualities of a pure devotee, is that our heart is clean of this hankering and lamentation. And that comes when we become joyful within our heart. The hankering and lamentation goes away. So he says, then you're ready to associate with the pure devotee.
Isn't hankering to give Krishna consciousness to others also a material? No, it's not.
No, it's not. And I do this. I have a list of the different ways in which I chant Hare Krishna, japa.
Mm-hmm. So the pure devotee.
One of them on my list is that I'm with Srila Prabhupada. I can feel his presence. I'm chanting for his pleasure. But then I feel like, let's adopt a new frame of mind. We're chanting that the whole universe should be purified by this sound vibration. And Srila Prabhupada loves it. I feel that. I can feel that. Let's chant for the whole, and it says, enthusiasm. And we joyful, utsahan in Nectar of Instruction, to be very enthusiastic. Yeah, the Panchatattva, how they chanted, it says they plundered the storehouse of love of God. They were like mad. They were mad. They were like madmen. They were plundering. It's like you run into a place where there's all this wonderful food, ice cream and dates and mangoes, and you're plundering. You're just going wild, taking it. And that's the spirit in which we do our sadhana. Why are Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda's hands up in the air? Like they're saying, everybody now jump into the pool. Yeah,
Joy.
That's it. It is a joyful thing, but but we have to become, and so it's only a matter of understanding and accepting. Accepting means we're joyful. That's what accepting means. So then we say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. We're becoming like crazy. If we're a little shy, we can do it in private. But as it grows, we'll want to shout it out. We won't be able to help ourselves. Because it's a nice thing, and you'll want to share it. So, like that, I'm trying my own little way, that I have this little understanding, and it's real, and anyone can have it better than me, because you're all more pure-hearted than me. I'm the most degraded and demented, etc., and with moods and this and that. I'm very good at all that stuff, but this is so powerful, and anyone can do it.
We
I
have
don't
a
know if you
question, Ishan Prabhu.
can you
Oh, there's a bug. Oh, yeah. There's a question
That's
about
my
a bug. There was a question about a bug, so I guess it's time to read that question. So,
my
I s-
Prabhu.
my
Go
Prabhu.
ahead.
So there
Yeah.
was a question by a devotee about this concept. So let me read that, and
Yeah.
I will. He's saying, "Is loving your mother and tiger in the same way possible?" Then that's the first part. Is loving your mother and a tiger in the same way possible? And then
Can
the
you
second.
translate that? Can you translate that into English?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what he means by is loving your mother and tiger
That's
in the same way possible. Then he asks a follow-up, or loving a mosquito and your girlfriend in the same way possible. Rupa, do you understand
okay.
what is he trying to
Yeah, I
say?
understand. I think I know what he's saying.
Okay.
It's identical, but it's misplaced.
Hmm.
It's identical, but it's having affection for something that's not really there. It's an illusion. It's material. It's made of mud and water, and it's going to turn back into mud and water, but it looks like a real person, whether it's a tiger or a mother or a baby or a sister or a brother or, or your parents or whatever. It's an illusion. So they take the same affection that you have for the illusion and direct it towards the reality. And it's going in the right place.
Hmm.
Yes, it's the same.
Right. Let's see if there's any more
Doesn't
questions.
Srila Prabhupada say transfer the account?
Yes, he says that you already have this love. People
Yeah,
have it for their dog, for their cat, for their wife,
yeah.
children.
But it's
This
all
one.
you're loving a lump of mud.
Yes.
You're loving a lump of mud, and you're thinking it's a person or a dog or a cat or a mosquito. It's none of these things. These things are illusions. They're there. They're not that it's not there, but it's not reality. It's a fabrication, a copy of the real thing. And it can't love you back because it's material. Even your house, your car, your bank account, it can't love you back. Even your body, it can't love you back. You take such good care of it. You groom it. You comb your hair. You wear nice clothes. You get make yourself all beautiful, and it dies. It grows old, and it gets cancer and COVID and everything else, and you're still loving it, and it's love, but it's misplaced. You're having affection. It's an illusion. You're pursuing something that cannot satisfy you and is binding you to the cycle of birth and death. So you take that same affection and you put it in the right place, then you're in business.
Rupa, you had a question, Rupa Manjari?
Yeah, I was just wondering, what people love their dogs, and the dog seems to show affection. So are you saying that there's no affection from the dog to the person?
Yeah. And they both go where? What does it do for them? You understand what I mean?
A lot of
sometimes
devotees have dogs.
yeah, they have dogs because why do they need dogs? Why does one want? What is your association? Well, why you could associate with a pure devotee, but you'd rather associate with a dog? Why? Because they haven't got a real relationship yet with their spiritual master.
Hmm.
What do they want a dog? A dog. I've seen people kiss their dogs. I have. I've seen people. Yeah, sure. The dog wags his tail, and wants to be patted and wants you to throw a stick so he'll chase it, and or a ball or something. But what, there's affection there. It's real. It's in the heart. They feel something. But by cultivating a relationship with a dog, how can they advance towards Krishna? It's like, why would one want to cultivate in a relationship? If I have a choice, I can cultivate a relationship with Srila Prabhupada, or I can get myself a really nice dog. I have a choice. What kind of a choice is that? Why would one want to squander their love on somebody who, devotees love each other, but
Love is called priti, I think, in Sanskrit.
Yeah. So, but I mean to say, there are Vaishnava prayers in which I only want the association of Ramchandra. When I think it might be Narottam, I don't, Das Thakur, but because he wants the association of someone who, that together they help each other to be Krishna conscious. If I sit with my dog, is he going to talk about the things we're talking about tonight?
No.
No.
It's like life is very short, and Srila Prabhupada said, you lose a second, you can't buy it back even with millions of dollars, and and people are going to waste time throwing a stick for their dog to chase, because the dog, I have to take my dog for a walk, so I'm going to stand, and while my dog passes urine in stool, instead of reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I mean, everybody has to make a choice, but I'm talking about what we're talking about, how to develop our Krishna consciousness. I'm going to be dead in 5 or 10 years. I may be dead in 2 years. I may be dead tomorrow. I'm an old man. I have a neighbor. He said to me, you know what he said, what you need is a dog. He said, and his dog was having puppies. I said, thank you, but no, thank you. I won't be here. Just because people are younger doesn't mean people die at all ages, and they're thinking about having a relationship with their dog. What kind of? I guess they don't take it seriously. I don't know. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. So, the real thing. So you know what Srila Prabhupada, I heard this morning, Srila Prabhupada said that one gopi told another gopi, she said, don't go on that riverbank. She said, the gopi said to the other gopi, she said, don't go on that, because you'll see that boy, and he'll be playing his flute. He's standing there with a smile on his face, and he's going to look at you with one glance. He's going to destroy your relationship with your home, your family, your friends, your children, your everything is going to go out the window, because you're going to become so captivated. But she didn't say, even your dog. It's like, because Krishna consciousness is so great, and it's not even a real person. It's a fabrication of mud and water, and there's some poor spirit soul in there. Okay,
Mhm.
you can give it some maha water or maha crust of a chapati or something, and it will be helpful. But that's out of compassion, not
Mm.
because you need because you hanker for their association. have have a dog. Devotees, you know, um, church members. We're members. This is our church, and so what? And each person will take it at their own level of how serious they want to be. But you know, what can I say? I believe that Krishna consciousness is real, and I wish I could be more serious. you know,
Mhm.
uh, I'm trying more to cultivate, but and I'm studying the books, and there's so much to study and learn, and who has time for having a dog? It's, I mean, I just, it means there's something missing in their life and they're trying to fill it up by having a pet.
Mhm.
It means they don't have a taste so they're looking. So I'm trying to sell a different product. I'm
Mm.
trying to say that we can have, instead of having a dog, have a relationship with Srila Prabhupada. I mean, there's no comparison, but they don't know how, obviously, or they would do it.
So, your understanding is once one cultivates this loving propensity towards Srila Prabhupada, and now then he can be really loving because they can see the spirit soul, which is part and parcel of Krishna, and them looking for their love being misdirected. So you try to help them get situated on the light platform of getting a bona fide spiritual master or getting this understanding. In this way, they benefit.
A realized soul doesn't make, you've read it,
Yes,
this
doesn't make
verse.
distinction. Yes.
There's no difference between the dog and the dog eater
Mm,
and the Brahmana and the elephant and
mm,
and etc. But but with the dog, we can't engage in these
mm,
activities. That's
mm,
all. So we try to be merciful and kind. We still have affection, but not thinking of him as a dog, thinking of him as a spirit soul who's lost.
mm.
Maybe give him a little prasadam or something.
Yes.
Uh, you know, he's no different. I'm a dog myself. I can't be prejudiced. I'm very dog-like, but but we want to associate with, because I'm dog-like. I need the association of pure devotee. That's what Krishna consciousness is all about. Actually, the lotus feet of our spiritual master is the only way by which you can achieve this pure devotional service.
Right.
From him, this ecstatic prem emanates. And if I can catch it, then my ignorance will be destroyed. This is what we're.
Mm.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
was it Srila Prabhupada's loving propensity towards everyone? That's why everyone seemingly they just surrendered wholeheartedly to some degree or to a large degree? Or can you
um,
say that technically or in one way? It seems like it because many people never even met I mean, especially the Westerners, they were being cheated left and right, and many of them saw Srila Prabhupada, and they gave up, their prime youth to such a great personality to some degree.
We would have to ask each person individually.
Mm,
But I hear from different devotees that
mm,
they felt his presence, and his love is overpowering. I mean, when I was, where was that now? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I went into his room one time in England, and I knocked at the door, and Srila Prabhupada said, yes. He's he has a lot of things on his mind, unlimited. He's running a movement and hundreds of. So I go in and he smiled at me. It's so bright, like the sunshine. I just couldn't look back in his eyes. No one ever looked at me like that in my life. There's so much love, so much joy. And when he saw that I couldn't relate to him on that level, he became more formal, more, he didn't show his ecstatic love. He checked it because he saw that, oh, the dog has come to my room. Ishan is here. So, but you sit in front like that, like make that experiment and sit in front of the most beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada, where he's smiling in such a loving, beautiful, happy way, and then chant for his pleasure, Hare Krishna, and make that a daily meditation.
mm,
And you're going to do japa anyways, but when you get locked like that, even for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, your mind will not, there will be no question of being inattentive, because it'll be you'll think, oh, this is so nice. Your mind will not wander away. And then you'll say, wow, I want to live that way.
Ishan,
Yeah.
I was sorry to interrupt, but can you finish your story about when you went up to see Srila Prabhupada?
Oh, you mean when he looked at me like that?
Yeah.
Well, that I don't remember what happened after that. There was something, but that was the main point of the story, because Ramchandra Prabhu was asking how different people experienced Srila Prabhupada and why they became so attached. I've seen, like when Srila Prabhupada, that you'll see, what do you call it? Video of Srila Prabhupada arriving in the airports and things. Just in his presence, everybody became so amazingly happy, and some people were crying, and some people, he must have, I think Krishna gives people different experiences, each individual, but I don't know how everybody related to him, and I don't know. I just know that somehow or other, people wanted to be initiated. People wanted to be closer to him if they had a chance. It's hard to understand. He just was himself, and he just walking, just smiling, just being, and all these people just were ready to do anything to please him, and when he was there, but to maintain that sense, because he's that's what we have to do. We have to enter into a relationship with him and begin to sense that his love and his beauty and his joyfulness and also like that picture I sent you. I don't know if I sent it to Ramchandra too. When Srila Prabhupada sing Jai Radha Madhava, he would give us little glimpses of his love for Krishna, like feeling like separation from Krishna, like a kind of deep longing in his heart. And he shared that. Hansaduta, I knew I was friends with him, so we would talk on the phone before he passed away in the last year or so. But he told me that he was once there, I think it was in Mayapur, I'm not sure, where Srila Prabhupada was chanting, and he actually went into a deep trance, like a spiritual, and he became, the kartals fell from his hands, and he became absorbed in internal feelings of love for Krishna, and he became, what's the word? Not indifferent, but insensible to his surroundings, that all these devotees were there.
Comatose.
And the devotee, yeah. Well, maybe that's a medical name. A term, I don't know. But for somebody who's in a coma or something, but a coma. but the thing is, the devotees didn't know what to do. That Srila Prabhupada was there, but he wasn't there. They knew he was somewhere else. They could see that. So then Hansaduta started a kirtan. And then that's what Lord Chaitanya's devotees would do when Lord Chaitanya would go internally in a deep trance to try to bring him out. Although, he's doing fine, of course, so to speak. But it's an interesting question what you're asking. I just felt that this is a very,
it's a personal thing, I guess. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, like I never I was speaking to another devotee who's my age, and he said that when he saw Srila Prabhupada looked at him, and he felt that Srila Prabhupada could see deep into him and understand everything about him, that people would have different experiences. I just felt like he knows, and I want to know.
He knows, and you want to know.
Yeah, like he knows, and what he knows is so nice. And he's encouraging me. He told me one time. He said, because I asked him a question about my relationship with the spiritual master, and he said, you can think of me as your father. So you can think of me as your father, your spiritual father.
Right.
Then with another person who was there at a similar time, he was very formal and strict. And then he told me, I have to be this way because they don't take me seriously. And I have to be very strict with them. So it'd be different with everybody,
Gotcha.
But with me, I was his dog. But actually, there's a Vaishnava prayer like that, to become the dog of the. It wouldn't hurt if I could be more like that. But yeah, but
Does
just really want to encourage you to experiment. That's
Jai,
all. That's
do you feel that you had a previous connection with Srila Prabhupada from a previous lifetime, or
no.
no?
But now that you mention it,
Otherwise,
I have the feeling that he's my real relation. Like my mother's not my real relation. My father's not my brothers, 2 of them are dead. They're not my real relation. Srila Prabhupada's my real relation. Of course, they are spirit souls, but I knew them as their body type.
yes.
And there's no difference between them and that bug that was on my arm. It's another spirit soul, different body, and he's here. He's checking everything out. I like them, the ones that don't bite. But the real thing is to soften our heart and feel loving, and to approach Srila Prabhupada in that way. And I tell you, instantly I can feel his love in return. I'm too foolish and too stupid, that I lack intelligence, not to stay in that position. But as soon as I go there, it's for real. And my desire or aspiration is that somehow to make it more consistent, and live in that way. It's just that we've been looking for happiness in other ways for so many millions of lifetimes that it's like it's our default program. but it's the most beautiful one. It's the everything that we're looking for. Everything we do at every moment during the day is looking for that satisfaction. Everything we think of, everything we do, it's all coming from the soul is looking, but looking in the wrong places. Everything, and that's what we really want. So at the beginning, we're practicing. We're practicing devotional service. We're practicing.
I'd like to ask a technical question.
Yeah.
So you were under the guidance of an expert journeyman making mardangas at one time, right?
Yeah. Right.
In Mayapur. So that relationship you had with that expert mardanga maker, was it based on love, or was it based on order? Like, okay, as a how would you describe that relationship? Prabhupada gave you an instruction to do that, right? And you carried out that order.
Right. There were 6 or 8 other guys that had come to Mayapur to learn.
Yes.
And it was a small hut, a bamboo hut on a and it was on a raised platform about, 1.5 feet off the ground, 16 inches, 18 inches, and built with stone and mud. And on the platform was a hut, maybe 8 feet by 10 feet. And in that hut, we made the drums. And the other guys, the devotees, they had clipboards and they would make notes. And they would ask questions through a translator because the man spoke Bengali. He was an elder man, must have been 60, 70 years old, maybe 50, 60. I was young, 26, 27. And I felt affectionate, very affectionate towards him. I admired him. He was the oldest son, and I took care of his family. And he had been through everything. I mean, these are people who don't live in the city. They go through life and they see the reality of life. And he knows that he has to make a living, and he has to make drums to make a living. But I felt affection for him. I did, very much so, and he knew it. And he taught me, and I would bring him water. I would bring him prasadam, because it was on the land in Mayapur, so I could bring from the, when they serve prasadam and that. So I admired him, and I admired his skill and his patience and his he was really very steady and strong in his approach to just working with these elements, and he took care of me. He was, one time I cut myself with one of the knives for cutting leather, and you're in the hot country and you're in the, and you cut yourself with a knife that's cutting leather from a dead animal. You very fast you can get an infection and you're finished. You can die. And immediately he took me by the arm forcefully and just walked into because it was a grassland there, and immediately he identified certain herbs that were growing, and he picked the herb and made it, broke the leaves and made it bleed, and he put it to my little cut. He was very concerned that I shouldn't get hurt like that. So there was a nice relationship. I mean, I really had affection for him, yeah. But I'm not sure what you were asking me exactly. I guess I thought of him as one of us in a distant way, because he was mridangas,
Yes,
and
yes.
mridangas are used in kirtan, and I don't know what his personal beliefs were, but I assumed he was a devotee, and he I don't know. I get, but I'm not, a very evolved or a devotee. I'm a neophyte devotee. So some people I would like, and some people I wouldn't like. Like someone like Srila Prabhupada, he loves everybody. Krishna even loves the demons that he kills.
Mm.
But he kills them. But he's never disturbed. But sometimes as he shows anger, it's hard to understand. But it says in the book, that in our books, that all that Kamsa achieved Sarupya Mukti. He went to the Vaikuntha planet because he was thinking of Krishna in anger and hatred to kill him at every moment in his life, and he attained Sarupya Mukti. So some things are real not easy to understand.
Rupa, any last questions or comments before we end? Yes,
Yeah,
go ahead.
nothing for me. Thank you.
Okay. Robert, Prabhu?
I have one question.
Yes.
You're saying live in the moment, okay? That's what's recommended by Krishna. But what if you have a image of, or you've seen an image of Krishna in the past, and you keep referring back to that past memory?
If you're there 100%, you're in the present moment.
Right.
Okay.
If you're thinking of that picture or that pastime, that Krishna was doing this or that, and your mind is going, oh, I have to do this, and what time are they serving food, and I wonder if that check bounced or not, then you're not in the present moment. But if you're 100% with that memory, you're present. Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
I think, I hope that it makes sense. I hope it makes sense.
Yes, it does.
This going into this place where you just feel your own beauty. Love has no sense of direction, whether you're looking out or looking in. You feel the same thing for yourself as you feel for others. If we have feelings that are negative towards others, it's coming out of our own heart. But the idea is you can go there and be there. It's not artificial. Anyone can do that and just feel, whether you call it love or happiness or joyfulness or enthusiasm, or they're all the same thing. And it's just feeling very, very positive in a very beautiful way. And everything goes away because it's so nice. And I believe that anyone can do that.
Sure.
I'm sure anyone can do that. And it's with that kind of heart to approach Srila Prabhupada. And the more we do, the more we'll feel that it's not a picture, it is not a memory. He's a transcendental being, and he can, and he's empowered by Krishna to take this position. Just like, if you think of God, and you know that if you open your heart to Krishna, that he can respond to you. I mean, at least conceptually, we understand that. Well, Srila Prabhupada's the same way. He's not distant, or he was here, or he's not here now, or he's this or that. No, it's just totally transcendental, empowered. Krishna has different incarnations, avatars. So he descends in different forms. And one of the forms in which Krishna descends is in the form of one of his devotees. It's called a Shakti Avesh avatar. That means he puts his Shakti into one of his associates, and his associate comes down to this world, and he has the power of Krishna. He can relate with us, just totally transcendentally. It's a living thing, a living fact, and our business is to cultivate that and experience it, and then we'll want more. And the thing is, it's like the more we relate like that, the more he blesses us. It says that in 434 of Gita, that when he sees that we're serious, he blesses us. And he blesses us that we become more attracted to Krishna and to him. And the more we keep cultivating, he keeps blessing us. And the final, so our realization becomes, how does he bless us? Okay, I used to have a hard time reading Krishna book, okay? Now when I read Krishna book, I say, wow. Sometimes I read Krishna book, it brings a little tear to my eye. I say, oh, that's so beautiful. But it wasn't like that before. But that's because he's blessing us. Because someone else can read Krishna book, but a non-devotee, and you say, what is this nonsense? Give me a good newspaper. So, but or I look at a certain picture of Krishna that I like very much. I can feel Krishna's looking at me. So Srila Prabhupada's blessing us. So the more that's what it says in our books, that when the spiritual man, 434, you read that, when he sees that we are serious, he blesses us with more understanding and more experience. And this is the thing. So we get close to him, and I say, I'll tell you this frankly, although I like Krishna very much in my picture, if I never get face to face with Krishna, if I could only make this deepen this and make it constant relationship with Srila Prabhupada, and he can leave me here in this material world. If I can just have this, I'm satisfied.
Mm.
No, it's true. It's true. And so we just go. I'm just trying to share in my own clumsy way that, but it's not the thing. I'm not advanced. I'm a neophyte devotee, but
You're more advanced than you realize.
Yeah.
You're leading all
No.
of us. You're leading us with your wisdom.
You're very nice, but you're talking to, I'm very silly, I'm always distracted, and I won't go into it, but what I'm trying to, if you guys got on this track, you could go much faster than me, because you're intelligent and you're disciplined and you have good qualities, and I have to overcome but I don't, a notion of nonsense. but it's going forward. So, but I just want to give her a little, give her some encouragement that don't think, because so many think that, oh, we do this out of duty, we do that out of duty, chant 16 rounds of blah blah blah, and whatever, and it's good, but don't stay that level. You don't have to. You you can grow more in a week or a month than you can grow in 50 years.
Jai.
We should finish up for the day.
Thank you. And thank you for everything. Thank you.
Thank you too, Prabhu.
Jai.
Yeah.
So, Ishan Prabhu, thank you very much. I think it's sufficient that we discuss from Srila Prabhupada and the examples and the books. So if the devotees have any more questions, they can certainly ask or send an audio like last time, and then we can discuss. Yes. So our next meeting on next Sunday, we'll continue our reading 1-5-23.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ishan Prabhu.
Just say one thing, that although it was not very well put together, the things I compiled and presented it, I'm trying to show that I'm not making something up. It's based on our scriptures. And that would hopefully give you more confidence to venture into that whole thing.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu, Ishan Prabhu, Rupa Manjari, Robert, and some of the devotees who joined, and our online viewers. We had like 10 viewers at one time. So
thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.